How many of you all know he doesn't even know who his parents are? How many of you all know that he was eventually adopted and brought to United Kingdom? He doesn't even know if Muhammad is his name. Tenacity, resilience. When we need to create, I'm no entrepreneur, but I do know that if no matter what kind of company one runs, if you take the people out of the company, you have no company. Nothing can be done by a machine or a system alone. It's the people who make things work. And therefore, I speak only about that human being who's the building block of everything that each of us does. So that's what we'll talk about. Tenacity, quite simple. It says the ability to hang on. Or someone who just won't quit. Just don't give up. Adversity, failure, risk, calamity, catastrophe, apocalypse. It's the building block of what can later become resilience. What does resilience mean? Quite simply, it's the ability to recover or an ability to spring or bounce back, which means there has to be a trigger for the resilience to kick in. Now, before that trigger, the actions that contribute to making anybody robust, strong, any of the things we've discussed are tenacious. Tenacity, the adjectives are listed on the top right and they're infinite. So how do you build resistance in individuals? So since we have to look at human beings as individuals and resilience is a thing of the mind, I thought it most apt to use the definitions which a psychologist uses because they are the mind people, right? So this is from there. Don't have to read the entire thing. First is to reach out. You want to build tenacity, you need to reach out. The logic is very simple. A network is much stronger than one. So you create a fabric, a network, strung together, stronger. Focus on how you can prevent a crisis. Now this, while it's an individual job, it sits squarely in the prism of leadership. So it's your ability or my ability or a leader's ability to look beyond what may happen. You can have fancy designation like I'm Vice President Risk. Risk is a factor of science. Risk is something that you forecast from what has happened in the past, put it together, put it through a complex algorithm, push it up and see where it takes you and say, these are risks, let's plan for these risks. What about something that's not been thought about? That's a crisis. Leaders must be able to see a crisis before it happens. What you then do is to build those little blocks which will prevent that crisis from happening. And should it still happen, then in doing so, you actually prepared the ground for being a very resilient organization. So this is the connect between how an individual's resilience and an organization's resilience develops. Next one is, I can't use the common American phrase because it will happen. It happens. There will be risks, crisis, major crises which we haven't seen. We've got to just accept that. It is very articulate what Sir just said before me, that we have a short-term goal for Tamil Nadu startup and we have a long-term goal. So the vision must always be broken into small parts, small doable parts. You should never get your teams overawed by the size of your vision. That could lead to catastrophic failures. Let them see the small ones. Let me walk down the stairs on my own, celebrate that. Tomorrow I'll run down the stairs. Day after I'll walk down to the 6th floor. Few days later I'll walk down to the ground floor. 1 month later, let's all run down to the ground floor. 2 months later, we'll run up and down the 7th floor. But each of them have to be calibrated, stated, and celebrated. The human being needs a celebration. And that success and the celebration is what will reinforce the ability to continue to work. And that's how individuals think.